All right, it's Ben and Beta here, and today I have something special for everybody. We're trying something a little bit different, but we're going to try a little podcasting series where my good friend Bryan and I are going to talk about, and maybe some other people are going to be talking about our overland builds and what we learned from those and where we want to get them over time, and also talking about our adventures and things like that. So anyway, again, I'm Ben and Beta, and this is...
Hi, I'm Bryan Pegenkoff. Nice to meet everybody.
Go
ahead.
So Bryan is from my home state, which is Wisconsin, and we've been good friends for about 25 years or something like that. We're getting old, and we both are experienced friends, and we're both getting into overlanding right now. So last year we started to talk about it a little bit. Misty and I got into it with our Tucson, and I got into it a little bit more on my own, just kind of running around here in Colorado, and basically convinced Bryan to try it out with me. And he was very interested.
It really didn't take much convincing, honestly, because I bought my Jeep. It's a Jeep Wrangler Sahara Moab Edition. So it's got some of the nicer features as far as like creature comforts inside, but it also has the ability to do some rugged outdoor stuff as well. So that's kind of why I liked it when I got it. It's a 2018, but I'd actually been looking into overlanding around the same time you started looking at it. We just didn't know that each other was looking into it.
Yeah, so this is Bryan's vehicle here. And you can kind of, let me get my fat fingers off of here a little bit, but that's his Sahara and all its glory. So kind of cool. Got a few other images as well and some pictures of this. But yeah, so again, why did you choose this model? What made you go Jeep versus something else?
So, for me, the Jeep was kind of a nostalgia piece as well, because I can remember being, late teens, early 20s, and getting my hands on a Jeep Wrangler and taking it for a road trip across, Wisconsin a couple of different times. And I've loved them ever since, being able to take the doors off, take the top down, all of that, and just be exposed to the elements while you're traveling. There's no better feeling when it comes to taking a road trip, in my opinion. So, getting back to actually owning a Jeep for the first time, that's been kind of something on my bucket list. And like I said, it's almost been a year now. I bought it middle of February last year, so I've almost had it for a year, and I probably put close to 15,000 miles on it so far.
Cool. I've driven, so I think that's cool. You're getting the vehicle that you love, and that's, to me, the most important part. So many times I think, people buy a vehicle because other people think it's cool. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I think it's great to buy what you think is cool. I know for a while we were both into Tesla, and we've since kind of moved on from that for many different reasons, I'm sure. But yeah, now we're into overlanding together. And I think what's cool about that is, if you have Teslas, they're basically the same. You can wrap them, I guess. You can do maybe a few different things with them, but they're essentially the same vehicle. In this case, we get to try significantly different vehicles, build outs, all that kind of stuff as we do some adventures. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah, so I haven't done any camping or overlanding yet with my Jeep. The most I've done as far as getting out and getting it dirty is near Stockholm, Wisconsin, which isn't too far away from where I'm at. There's a few rustic roads that you can drive down, one of which is Rustic Road 51. It's a short little 5-mile stretch of dirt road, but there are 4 different creeks that actually flow over top of the road. There's no bridge or anything. So you get to drive through the water a little bit. And then I'd like to make a trip up to, in Minnesota, there's a place called Spider Lake. And there's apparently a bunch of really good trails for Jeeping and stuff like that. And I've got a couple people that I know also own Jeeps, have been up there. So it might be something, or rather it is something I'm hoping to plan for just a weekend to get together with a couple other Jeep Wrangler owners I know and hit that spot up.
That's cool. I imagine you'll have a good time. I know that Misty and I are interested in getting into some of the meetups in the area too for overlanding and whatnot. Once we get our Tacoma, I've been a little reticent of taking my Tucson to an overlanding meetup. I mean, I guess it would be interesting, but I think I'm going to wait till the Tacoma comes. So let's just start with the state of where we're at. So you kind of talked about it. You really haven't done a lot of overlanding in the vehicle yet, but you have the vehicle.
Yes.
You also have something else. So we can talk about that a little bit. What is it that what's the other piece of gear that you own?
So the other piece of gear that I own actually goes on the top of my Jeep. It's a rooftop tent. Over the Black Friday specials, they had a nice discount on it. So I went with the Intrepid Geo 2.5. And I also bought some roof rack to go on top of my Jeep, so that way I could mount it. But yeah, no, I looked at a handful of different ones, and I really like this one because there's a very good chance that I may end up going on some of these overlanding or camping trips, like just short weekends by myself, or maybe with one of my 3 kids. But the fact that you can easily just open it up and close it up, it's got locks on the latches so you can keep everything secure when you're traveling. It just, honestly, it checked all the boxes. And the fact that I know there was some concern with the whole hinging of the roof being a potential weak point in the architecture of it, but they've got a pretty good seal on there with how they have it made. So I'm not too concerned about that, but it definitely opened up a lot of space inside. I mean, when I climbed in there, I could sit upright, and there was still a good, foot and a half above me that I had for headroom. And I'm a 6-foot guy, so average height for adult guy. But again, and like laying down, even there was still a lot of room for above my head as far as the mattress itself goes. But it comes with the standard, the mattresses that most of them have, along with the condensation mat that's in there. So that isn't an issue, but completely blacks out. And one of the nice things is I'm a stargazer. So I like going out in the middle of the night and, watching, the meteor showers and stuff like that. So it actually comes with not one, but 2 moon, or rather windows in the rooftop. So that way you can actually just open those up and just be able to look out at the stars.
Nice. And it looks pretty dark in there too. So it's always nice when a lot of tents don't get very dark at night and you're up with the sun, which is, is fine. I like to be up early, but sometimes you want to sleep in. So the darkness is kind of cool.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's really standard with a lot of rooftop tents, but there's basically 3 access points. You've got the 2 on the sides and the 1 on the back. It has the telescoping ladder that hooks up. There is one side specific that it actually has the latches for to set up on, which would be the driver's side of the Jeep. But the 2 side ones have a screen along with the blackout close, to close it up, zipper, and then the back actually has that as well as the clear plastic layer as well. So that way you could have the wall piece unzipped. You could have that up so you can still see out without having like exposure to the air and stuff like that if it's a colder night. You can kind of see some of that stuff with the video you're sharing there. But
yeah, it looks pretty cool, for sure.
It definitely gets dark in there with everything closed up, though.
Nice. So yeah, I'm happy for you. We went back and forth on tents for a couple of months. I'm like, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? And I don't remember if you kind of remember this, but you started that journey with thinking you were just going to buy a ground tent, and that's where you were going to kind of start. And there were a lot of different reasons, pricing in the beginning, that kind of thing. You kind of decided, you know what, I'm going to spend some money on this because I think it's going to be cool. But you went through the gamut from like a cheap ground tent to a cheap rooftop tent to a more expensive rooftop tent. And I'm excited to see what it's like for you. And I think it's going to be give you some pretty cool adventures for sure.
Right. And I have basically a 3-room ground tent right now because, we used it in a family of 5. That's what we had. But again, if this is something that it's just going to be me potentially, or, maybe one other person, that tent is was a bear to set up and make sure everything was lined up just right and everything. So I wanted something that was going to be quick and easy to set up. Took no time at all. So I was looking at the Gazelle tents for quite some time. There was a lot of back and forth between that, and then honestly, I only because of the sale over Black Friday, what I was able to, like, you know what, I'm going to splurge. I'm going to buy a rooftop tent. I'm just going to go for it. And yeah, I'm super excited. And I know we talked about it before too. When I took possession of my rooftop tent, it came with 2 sets of keys. So total 4 keys. One of the keys came damaged. It had a pretty good bend in it. But I reached out to Intrepid's customer service. They got right back to me, and they sent me a whole another set of 4 keys that are all in perfect condition. Super on the ball with everything and very helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome too. Like, it's good to have a good company behind that. We haven't chosen our tent yet, but there may be some movement in that area. I'll have something hopefully to talk about in a few weeks, but we're holding off a little bit. It could be as late as the fall before we go with our tent, but it kind of depends on the way a few things work out. Obviously, being a small channel, I don't get a lot of opportunities to try things out, and there's not a lot of people who want to partner with me yet, and maybe I'll never be a big enough channel to do those things. So we're paying out of our pockets, and we're buying a truck in a few weeks, and then we need a rack, and then you need the tent. We do have a lot of the other stuff though, so we're basically, once you have those, I mean, we could also ground tent, which is totally fine, and that's what we plan to do if we don't end up getting the tent until later in the year. But yeah, it could be that we'll be able to start doing some stuff even this spring, which would be kind of cool. We'll see though. I don't know. We'll see. So that kind of brings me to where I am right now. I mean, I guess the last thing I would talk about before we move on to me is, like, you have the tent, you have the Jeep. What other overlanding items do you have so far that you feel like you're set? And then where do you hope to get it to, I guess, by the end of the year?
So, I mean, right now I do have a just a gas grill that I can easily pack up and put in the back. I think it's just it's an old Coleman we've had for quite some time. I've been wanting to upgrade, and you and I have been looking at different ones that pack a little bit more, use up a lot less space, I should say, when they're packed up and ready to go. We've looked at a few different ones. So I'd like to get a better grill just for that. And then in one of your videos, and I was actually on that trip when you kind of showed it off. You have your light. I'm blanking on the brand, but you had your light.
Ranger. Yeah.
Yes. But because I've been looking at those as options for making sure I have decent lighting when camping, the marketing is taunting me to buy.
They are amazing. I would say there's a good chance this year, if I'm at an Overland Expo again, that we'll end up probably picking up another one of those, because that's puts off a lot by itself. But definitely, I'm thinking we can do another one for camp. And then there's a bunch of cool accessories that you can get with it too. And it works in my garage, because I only have one light in my garage, so I can have several lights as well. And like, I have these things from Husky, which are pretty cool. They're actually magnetized, and I use them for lighting. You can see it's a little bit better when I put them down there, but those are great. But the Devos just puts off so much light. It's pretty amazing. So anyway, yeah.
So in this video that you just shared, I mean, I've only made a couple of changes with my Jeep so far. One is I did upgrade the tires from what I had originally come on there, but you'll see in a little bit here, it's actually a short stubby antenna that I have. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
And I did that because the original antenna that comes with the Jeep is one of those just wire ones that sticks up like 4 feet from there, and when you're driving, the wind just blows it all over the place, and it kept catching the corner of my eye, and it was a distraction. So I'm like, I got rid of that first thing, and put that short stubby one in there. There's Maverick. That was a gift from a friend. He's been through a lot. I actually had to do a rescue mission not too long ago, because I went through the car wash and he got blown off. So I had to have them open up the car wash so I can go back and retrieve him.
Well, that was nice that they did that for you.
Right. But the other thing is, with when I bought the Jeep, I did know that there were some rust issues along the hinges, which was a known issue, and a warranty issue, which is why I was comfortable still making the purchase. However, when I did take it in to get the warranty work done, they did notice other rust issues that they then took care of that had to do with along the bottom of the door and then along the under ridge of the hood. So I did initially, like when I bought the Jeep, I bought some decals to go on, and then they went on the hood. However, I now have a new hood, so I am currently decal-less.
Oh
But
boy.
yeah, I know.
Have to pick some up. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate it. We'll see where it all gets. We'll talk a little bit about some other things we have planned. So I'm just going to start with where I am today. So I'll just do a quick screen share here as well. And we got this one. So we're not going to share the audio though. So yeah, we recently took a trip, and the three of us, so you're 6 feet tall, our other friend's 6 feet tall, myself, I'm about 5'8". We took this trip in the Tucson with the dog, and it was a true overlanding trip, I would say. We got off the beaten path for sure. A lot further than I think almost anybody would take their Tucson. And it was fun, but it handled it just fine, especially with all that weight. I was pretty impressed. But this is the setup that we had for that. You guys were sleeping in the tent. I slept in the car with the dog. And we do have a number of different things already, like tables. We do have a Ice Cove fridge, which I haven't reviewed or talked about yet, but we'll be talking about that. We have a geyser shower, which is still in the box. I had tried a different one in the past. You should check that video out if you haven't. And that was from Kakadu. But yeah, definitely check that out. And we have the lights and that kind of stuff. We have the hatchet, which was in this video, and a bunch of other things as well. So you can kind of see it was pretty packed full in that vehicle for sure. And then as time went on, you went from the front seat to the back seat because we went up to the top of Pikes Peak, and that didn't sit well with you. But anyway, that's where we are as of right now, anyway. And where I'm headed. And I just want to say that this video here is from the Texas Truck Channel. They just picked up their celestial silver Tacoma, which is exactly the same truck that I'll be picking up hopefully in about a month from now. And yeah, so that's what this looks like here. Again, great channel. You should check them out. They do a great job. They were just doing a quick off-road test here. Theirs is more of a base model. Mine will be the premium model without the sway bar disconnect. But otherwise, yeah, I'm excited to start building that out. But it's basically bone stock, and I don't know what I'm all going to do to it yet, besides the tent and the rack, plus the other things that we have. It'll probably take some time to figure out what we all want to do. But Misty and I want to take some time and make sure we make the right choices with everything. If we're going to get tires, we want to make sure they're the right ones. And if we're going to do tires, should we do a lift kit at the same time with different wheels? Or just tires. So we'll find out. I don't know how hardcore we'll be either. We're not going to be going I don't think super hardcore, because Misty wouldn't want to do that anyway. We just want to get away from people. And I think this truck will allow us to do that. So this gets built. This is the 5th of February in 2024. And this one should be built this Friday on the 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th. And yeah, 9th. And then about a month later, we should be able to pick it up from the dealership if everything goes as planned. So somewhere between the 3rd and the 8th of March, I should be able to pick it up, and I'll have all kinds of content in and around this, things that other people might not do. I'll probably do some videos on that too, plus my impressions and that kind of stuff, and then long-term tests with it as well. And obviously all the build outs that we do with it too. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment with my build. Again, we have a lot of the stuff, so it'll be exciting to go. Even if we just use the tent for a while, I think it'll still be great to get out in the outdoors. It's always fun. So
now, one thing you mentioned about your build was potentially doing a lift kit, and I didn't actually talk about any of that when it came to considering what I bought for the camping and overlanding. I don't have an additional lift kit on my Jeep at this time, and I really don't think it would be an option for me, because one of the big perks also with going with the Intrepid rooftop tent and the roof rack that I got. The roof rack is a low profile roof rack. The Intrepid Geo 2.5 is only about 7 inches thick when it's all folded down, which gave me about 2 inches clearance of pulling into my garage. So definitely things you want to consider when you're building out your rig. Do you plan on parking in your garage when everything's all set up?
At least your tent's light enough you can take it off pretty easy too, or just store it in the garage and then still have, like, if you did decide to lift it, I don't think it would be terrible. You could park outside when it was nice out and then take the tent off if you're going to use it for a while. So that's nice. Some of the tents we're considering are a little heavier than that, so I'm not sure how it'll work out.
Well, I did purchase a Harken hoist too for the hard top of my Jeep, so that way I could I could back into the garage and I could actually undo the hard top, lift it up, it's out of the way, and then I could go topless in my Jeep. I can't do it with the actual rooftop tent attached because the weight limit would be exceeded quite a bit having the 2 of them. So I'm actually considering buying a second hoist so that way I can have my rooftop tent in one spot in the garage and then my hard top in another. And then just when I'm not doing anything, or as far as overlanding or camping, I have a soft top that I can easily put on and off as well. Yeah,
that'll be nice. I've looked at a couple different hoists. I've actually found a couple that are not that expensive. They're just like, they can do like 1,000 pounds, like $150. So I might even look at something like that, depending on if I can get it in the garage or not with everything on top. We'll see. We'll see where the build takes us. I don't know. There's, it's hard because you can kind of do anything as a newbie. You don't know what is more important, and I think that's this is going to be so cool. Is as we go through that and go, well, I chose this. Here's what I like about it. Here's what I wish I would have done, and maybe I'm going to switch it to something else in the future. I am trying to build things that are kind of configurable, so that if I start at one position, like if I start with a low rack, I can maybe switch to a high rack. So that might give some things away of what products can do that. But yeah, like, do you want to enclose it to keep everything safe? Do you not want to not? I don't know. My thought process is, if it's low enough and the tailgate's locked, and there's big items at the back that you can't pull out, things are pretty safe in the back at that point. But if somebody wants to steal something, they're going to steal something. That's just the way it is. So it's unfortunate we live in a world that's a thing. But hopefully we're in the middle of nowhere for the most part, and you don't have that problem too often. But you never know. So last 2 things, I think. So we're going to do a bunch of different videos in and around this. Might do something like this if people found this helpful. So like it if you thought it was good. Leave some comments about questions that you have for us that we can answer in the next sessions. But the last 2 things I want to talk about is, I'm just going to share my screen one more time here. We're just going to go ahead and do, I think, the window this time. Yeah, this one. So maybe not. We'll just do a tab. All right. So starting in in July, one of the things we're going to do is a multi-day overlanding trip. And the funny part is we won't be using our vehicles for this. And you might say, well, why is that? And we can talk a little bit about that. But we're going to be going with a company called Peak Overland. And there's Tim kind of owns things there. He's been really, really good with us. But you're going. Misty and I are going, and I have there's another couple going with us as well. So one couple will have the Bronco Wild Track, one's going to have the TRD, and one's going to have the Wrangler Rubicon, which happens to be the top 3 vehicles up on that site.
Guess who's going to have the Wrangler?
Yeah, who do you think? Guess who's going to have the Tacoma? So yeah, but the part of the reason that this is happening is, one, Misty really wanted to try overlanding before we got into it, but then we kind of got it. Like, I knew a year was probably too long, but whatever. We decided to go ahead and book this trip. So we're going to see something that's completely built out, and that'll help us decide if there's other things that we really need that we don't already have, which I think will be helpful. These are all super capable vehicles as well, and the fact that they're already built out and ready to go is going to be great for this trip. We're just going to hop in, put some groceries in, bring whatever we want with us, and take off, which will be great. So that's kind of why we're doing it that way. And I think for you too, you don't have everything yet, and you want to again see, like, what else do I need? And do I really need a lift kit? Like, you might find that out. Maybe you're like, okay, you know what? I'm taking the tent off, or lifting it up a couple inches because I'm going to need to do that. You might find that out. You might not. So it'll be kind of cool to see that. This should be pretty difficult in a few spots. I'm going to go ahead and just really quickly share another tab here to kind of show you the area we're going. I'm not going to share too much of it now, but this is sort of the area where we're headed. just north of Glenwood Springs into the Flat Tops area in July. So there's all kinds of places to explore here. Should be pretty exciting and pretty fun. But yeah, so that's kind of one of the plans we have for this year. And then I think we might do some other meetups if we can throughout the year, maybe one more somewhere else. And just kind of do something on our own once with our own vehicles, which will be kind of fun too. So
yeah, it's kind of prepping for the July trip in Colorado. Is kind of obviously forefront of my mind, but I definitely want to set up some weekends here, check out some places in Wisconsin, hit up the northern forest lands and things like that.
And I think the plan is for me to I go back every year to visit my mom for a couple weeks at a time, and I think the plan right now is for me to be there in September for a few weeks. So if that works for you, maybe we can just eat the gas mileage, put everything on top, and just drive the 1,200 miles there and back and whatever, right?
Yeah,
maybe we can do a trip then as well. So
I will say that the roof rack, though, definitely cuts down on the gas mileage just because of the wind resistance piece.
Yeah, that's another reason why I'm considering it. Keep it low. I want to keep it low just to keep it out of the wind, and I think that'll be good. But we'll see. So yeah, we might get a chance to go then in September as well. But if you've watched this, please subscribe to the channel to find out more about how these builds work out and what we do or don't do with our vehicles and why, and the lessons that we learned so that you can learn with us. And love to hear comments about things you'd like to see us do or mistakes you already think we're making if you're already experienced, which, for me, I like to buy stuff ahead of time. So I have lots of stuff. Like I said, I got the old geyser right here ready to go. But let us know in the comments, are we crazy? Do you think it'll be kind of fun to track us? And what kind of things do you want to know in these videos? I think as we do these, we want to keep them fairly short. This one's been a little bit about right around the half an hour, I think. So yeah, and we might have other people who might jump in on these too. So any last things from you?
I mean, I'll throw it out there. If anybody watching this, if you have any recommendations for sleeping bags and lighting for inside tents, I'd be more than happy to hear about it. I know I'm not interested in mummy bag style, but definitely interested because unlike you, I don't buy ahead of time. I kind of figure out what other people have and what works well, which is part of the reason why we're going with Peak Overland, just to see what's what's there, what works well, and then see what how I can translate that to my own rig. But yeah, I'm looking to figure out what's going to be the best options and then make my purchases.
Yeah, and I do that too. I do a lot of research as well. I don't just buy things willy-nilly. I did a lot of research on the Cockadoo, and I did use it. So I went out and I tried it out, and it broke on me, unfortunately. I think the product's still good. Again, go watch that video to find out why I think it's still good and why you might want to buy it. But I did learn that the geyser for us, I think the type of camping we do with the places we camp is going to be just far better. It's going to use less water. And that's the biggest reason for me is I don't want to have to bring 20 gallons of water along or have to just to run it through a filter or that kind of thing, which you could totally do with the other system. And instant hot water is nice. But I think this is going to be a pretty good system. So that I got all kinds of stuff. I got radios, and we're set. I mean, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I have lots of stuff to review. It's going to be a good time. And to be honest with you, the best part of it is just being out in nature with friends. We had such a great time in October, and it was kind of a cold evening. It had rained on us a little bit. We had some fits and starts of we thought we were going to camp the night before, but I forgot to pack the tent. So we literally got out and started taking stuff out of the car. I'm like, you know what? You guys don't have a place to sleep because there's no tent in the car. So I ended up doing it the next day instead. And I think that worked out better because we had more time to just do some hikes and kind of explore. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, being able to take the Tucson out the next day and just kind of travel over some of those other areas. I mean, we found some great places to hike, and there were some beautiful views.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm looking forward to more of that. And I appreciate everybody who watched this. Again, leave comments for how we can do things better. You'll probably see Bryan in the future and maybe some other people too. Remember to live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.